What's up, everybody? It's Brandon with Box Office Banner and Cult Flick Symposium. I'm here to talk to you about the movie, The Conference. Yes, a nice little movie from Sweden. I believe it's from Sweden. Watch me be fucking this all the way up. It's a Swedish slasher movie, and I don't know if you noticed, but seen the other things on this channel, I'm a huge slasher fan. And seeing that it was overseas only made me a little more hyped about it. Now it's like, well, what the fuck? Like, what if it was American? It wouldn't be good. I got a little more hope for overseas movies. And the main reason I feel like is because in some weird way, it feels like for it to make its way overseas, it almost has to be overseen by somebody to be like, this gonna hit over there. Or it's gotta be word of mouth and like it bounces around. There's a reason why this made it to me. You know what I'm talking about? Now that's not foolproof, but it seems to be a little bit better of a track record. Like I'm seeing this for a reason. I see all the dirt and terrible movies that come out over here. Could have been garbage still, but I was, like, okay, let's check this out. I had no idea what this was. Just out of nowhere, blink of an eye, I'm like, oh my God, a slasher movie. Okay, let's check it out. Up my alley, right? Anyways, Netflix, if you know me, hit or miss with their movies. This happened to also be a comedy horror film, which very hit or miss with me too. In fact, I think it's a little bit more of the latter. It's usually more miss. Although I will say, it seems like they've gotten better at balancing out these genres. It seems like it used to be a lot more clunky back in the day, other than like your all-out crazy balls of the wall horror movies that included comedy elements because it was just insane, like an Idle Hands or some shit. But when they try to just do like straight up jokes and horror, it's like they can't seem to balance it. It takes you a little too far into the comedy zone. It takes you a little too far into the horror zone. When I was watching this movie initially, I wasn't as on board with it because I'm watching it and I can tell, I'm like, I think they're trying to be funny here, but like it wasn't not working. Like I could recognize comedy was being attempted, but when I was watching it, I was kind of like, maybe I just don't get the Swedish sense of humor as much, but like I wasn't as into it as I like to be. Not that it was horrible, but it was enough to where I can tell it was a comedy and enough for me to be like, I wish I was laughing a little bit more if you're gonna insert this in here. But by the time we rolled along to the second and third act, I have to tell you, this is where they do good. Like I said, sometimes, they do a little bit better with this. The comedy does the comedy. And when it gets to the horror, you can't take the horror too seriously. Not the case here, dude. Because once the killing starts in this movie, this is where it really, really will win you over if you're like a true the wool diehard slasher fan. The whole mask, I'll say, costume doesn't look that good, but oddly I think does kind of grow on you as it goes on. It's not like it looks bad in like a CGI type of way, that type of thing. I don't know who all is even knows about this movie or has seen the picture, but it's like a big ass fucking head like that you'd see. Like, it's not a Chuck E. Cheese. If y'all know what Chuck E. Cheese, is Chuck E. Cheese global? I don't fucking know. Are people watching this in Sweden? Fuck, they might not know what I'm talking about. But, like a big-ass mascot type head. And it's not, like, it doesn't look like garbage. It just looks like a big-ass mascot type head. It's huge. It's kind of abnormal. It's like, wow, why is this here? It almost looks like Pinocchio, like this big head, which is kind of like, okay, it's kind of goofy, but once the sinisterness of the kills start popping off, it oddly kind of works. It's like you see this, like not just almost like smiley face, but bigger than life smiley face, and he's still fucking bludgeoning you. And bludgeon he does, or she does. We're not going to give away no killers here. He, she, whatever the fuck. The thing is here with this killer is the creativity of the killer. So the creativity of the kills are done very well. The, broad spectrum of, in his arsenal of shit he utilizes to kill people with. We love that as slasher fans, don't we? Fucking very top notch, well done in that regard. And then just the blood and gore and brutality in which he kills these people really makes you think that this killer is just flat out on a fucking mission. You cannot fuck with them. And I understand. I'm saying it's kind of like when I think of people in cars, it could be a fucking woman in the car. And I'm going to be like, I don't know what this guy's doing. That's just my go-to, I guess pronoun for when I think of killers. Like I could be talking about urban legend. Oh my God, spoiler alert for that. And when I'm talking about the killer, I'll still say fucking he. Maybe not that one because it's so ingrained in my mind, but you get my point. Like that is why I'm saying he. So don't necessarily think it's a he. I might not be. You might be surprised. So again, not trying to do spoilers here, keeping the killer open. But the point is, this killer is fucking insane. Like flat out take care of business. There's not a second as a viewer that you're not like, this person is about to absolutely fuck shit up and do it in creative ways with a variety of weapons. And what do we like more as slasher fans than that? That's all we can ask for. I don't know why more people can't get it right. And then also considering you got the comedy in there, does that interrupt the tension? No, the tension stays put, and I think that's because of, the sound design and the music they add in here as well. And again, the brutality of the killer where it's so believable. You're like, I already forgot about the motherfucking comedy. So this movie, if you got that Swedish sense of humor, you might even like the comedy too. But once the kills start, I know as a slasher fan, you'll probably at least like that. I'd be surprised if you didn't. The Conference is going to go as a probably overlooked horror movie. If you like slasher movies, this is a must. You got to get in there. You got to see it right now. This movie was dope. Very big surprise. And this has been a year chock full of movies that I anticipated. A lot of them, they did actually underwhelm, but a lot of them, they didn't overshoot the expectations. They met right at. I've had so many movies that are, near the top for me this year that just kind of came out of nowhere, which honestly, personally is kind of like me not doing as much of a deep dive into trailers and stuff like that this year. I've kind of let things organically come at me and find them at random rather than looking through each little fucking corridor, nook and cranny just to find every little movie. But this type of strategy has panned out for me in a way as a movie watcher. I'm sure I've probably missed out on a few more than what I would. Obviously, I watched 170 movies last year, something ridiculous. But I've also had those surprises again. So this has been a very good year for me in movies. I encourage you to maybe take a year off if you're the crazy person that does that and do what I've done this year because it's made everything a little more fun despite those few movies I might have missed out on. But you also maybe will stumble into a movie like this rather than already knowing everything about it. And it's far more enjoyable for that reason. So guys, either way, I encourage you to see this movie if this is your type of film. If it's not, maybe still give it a go. If you're one of those motherfuckers I don't like to read subtitles, stuff needs to be in English, then you're probably fucked here, okay? But check this movie out if you like slasher movies. I love you guys. Peace. Like, share, subscribe, comment.